Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be doing this very foxy eye. It's a very nude look. It's all drugstore. Like every product from beginning to end is completely drugstore. And I really walk you guys through this look with a whole bunch of detail so that if you want to recreate it at home, you can. I saw this look like everywhere recently and I wanted to kind of do my own take on it. So if you guys want to see how I did it and my new favorite lip combo like ever, like for a matte lip, then just keep watching. Okay guys, so my skin is already prepped. Honestly, my skin's going through it. I've been pretty harsh on it. I literally went out and used glitter and then like I took the glitter makeup off and it was, so I can like feel the sensitivity around my eyes. However, we're gonna push through. I really want to film a video today. So I've already like moisturized and everything. I don't know what foundation to use, but I don't want to use something too heavy. So I actually used this primer on my wedding day. It's the One Heck of a Blot Primer by Soap & Glory. I really like this, but I feel like a similar vibe is actually the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, like just the original one. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. So you can go in with either one of these. I think I'm going to go with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty just because it's like a classic, but they're really very similar. This one is just a little bit thicker in consistency when you first like swipe it on the face, but I feel like they work pretty similarly once they're like on your face. I'm also going to go in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is new to me. I've used it once and then I'm going to let this sit on my skin for a couple seconds. Today I'm going to tell you guys what palette we're going to be using. I think Colourpop makes really great eyeshadows. They're really affordable. They have smaller palettes that are kind of like quads with a couple shades. This is the Your Golden palette. This is a really lovely palette as well. Love vibes. Has some really nice shades. It has shimmers, mattes, little bit of everything, so I think we can do a lot with that there. And by the way, I already did like moisturize my skin and everything, so I am going to go in with today with a tried and true foundation for me. This is the Fit Me Matte Poreless from Maybelline in the shade 128 Warm Nude. If you have really dry skin, you can also use the dewy version of this foundation, which is why I love that, and it also has a really great shade range. So if you happen to be kind of new to makeup or you're just looking for something really affordable, and even if you are not new to makeup, this is a phenomenal foundation. It was always my favorite, like, and then I started testing out other stuff, but like I still always will always keep this in my collection because I love it so much. And this shade for me is so perfect. It's not a very thick foundation, but it still has really good coverage. Super buildable. I think it's like medium to buildable, but definitely on the more like full side of that spectrum again. And it's not a very drying foundation, even though it is like matte and poreless. The one thing I will say is I don't love the applicator on it. Yeah, like the fact that you have to pour it out doesn't not my favorite, but I'm just pouncing this in with a damp beauty sponge. That's my favorite way to apply foundations, so I'm gonna do this real quick. Also, I'm not gonna apply it too much under my eyes because I don't want things to look really cakey. I'm gonna take a little bit more of this foundation on a foundation brush. I'm gonna drag it down my neck, because even though it's a very similar shade to my skin tone, I want to make sure that everything looks good and matches. This brush also has a little bit of leftover cream bronzer on it from when I used it last, so I feel like it's kind of doing a 2-in-1 for me because it's like still getting product on my neck, but like kind of contouring my chin a little bit. So basically just taking it to like my necklace. And always, if you're wearing earrings while you're doing your makeup, make sure to wipe them off. That's always really helpful. I'm also making sure to keep this video pretty drugstore or like affordable makeup in general, because I think that if you like high-end stuff, that's great, and you can always sub stuff like this out for high-end. But if you're looking for affordable makeup and someone does a video with high-end, it's very hard for you to find a dupe that like works and you know is gonna work. So that's why I kind of like to do. That's another reason why I always feature drugstore products on my channel, because like I love that, but I know that the Tarte Shape Tape is very similar. I think it's harder to go the other way around. Like when you're using a drugstore product, you know that it's going to be good if the person showing you the product is like saying this is good, you know, right? Or you can see the product in action. But if someone shows you a high-end product, you might not know how to find that dupe. So that's always like my stance on that. I personally am going to show you guys two powders today that I really love. You can kind of go either way here. I love the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. This one has a little bit of a sheen to it. I also really love the Airspun powder. I'm going to use the Airspun one today. If you want something a little bit more glowy, go in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow. But this is a tried and true powder. You get a lot of product. I think it's like $5 at the drugstore. And before I actually blend this in, I'm going to take a little bit of my e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Fine Setting Mist and just spritz my face. I like to spritz my face a lot when I'm like with a setting spray or a fixing spray, because I like to make sure that my products blend really well and like everything does like look seamless, you know. So I'm actually going to go in with a little bit of contour. I used this the other day on my channel and I didn't know if I loved it, but I'm going to use the e.l.f. cream contour kit. The reason I didn't know if I loved it is because I felt like normally I like to use things that are more like a bronzer than they are a contour. But again, I said I would keep trying this out, so I'm going to use it today. I like to use cream products, and I did like this palette. I just didn't think it was warm enough for me to use it as like just a bronzer, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of patting it in the cheekbone area, and because it is a warmer or a cooler tone shade, I'm not taking it super far into my cheeks. You can see that I did apply my what's it called? Sorry, my concealer first. Normally I would actually do this and then go in with concealer, but because I'm just letting my concealer sit there. If you want more coverage out of your concealer, you can always let it sit on your face a little bit longer and you'll get a little bit more coverage. So, but be careful, because some concealers that are like more drying, or they dry quickly, you have to know the formula of the concealer before you decide to try that, you know. Some concealers dry very quickly. So yeah, I didn't love this product in my last video. Also, I thought the brush I was using was too large, so today I'm using like my favorite brush to apply cream contour with and stuff, and cream bronzer with, and I actually have a better opinion of the product today as opposed to last time. So now I like to go in with a powder puff. And what I like to do if I'm trying to avoid like extra powder is I'll go into the cap of whatever product and I will kind of disperse the powder that I had and like really work it into the sponge instead of letting it sit on the surface. I always say that, I always do this and I don't think I ever say it, but I always like to push my concealer also on the sides of my nose so that the sides of my nose are also a little bit brighter. I'm also going to go ahead and just like prime my eyes with this. I never really use an eyeshadow primer, but that's because I always end up using concealer. But I do recommend always having something on your eyelids before going in with other product. Also, I'm sure you guys know this, but I like to make sure to do one eye and then set it and then like blend out the other eye and set it. So I also like to make sure to pat that into my face just because I personally feel like it helps. I also don't really like to bake though, so like I will apply this powder, kind of press it into my skin, and then immediately will dust it away. If I am looking for extra coverage, I'll go in with a powder foundation on my face, like lightly like swim my brush into it and pat my rest of my face. This is the Aquasurance by JCat. This is a really great powder foundation. It is in the shade 102 Natural. It's a little bit lighter than my skin tone. I like that because personally, I'm not looking for too much extra coverage from this, and I love to use powders like this under the eyes and around the nose to touch up after the fact, like when I'm, you know, going on about my day. Something else I want to mention is that I have not yet tried it, but I have watched reviews on it, and if you can't find the JCat powder foundation, the e.l.f. one, the e.l.f. like camo powder foundation looks incredible. I wasn't able to get my shade in it. If you're looking for a good one, check that one out. I know I'm gonna love it. Like, I'm already talking about it because I know I'm gonna love it. Now, one of my favorite drugstore bronzers is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I think it's incredible, both for like contouring my nose. This is like the one product I use to contour my nose all the time. It is like a tried and true for me. I also like contour the bottom of my lip, and I like to use it for bronzing. So it's a very universal, like, I can use this one product for a lot of things in the shade that I have it in for me. And they have expanded their shade range, so you can actually get this in deeper shades. They also make it in a little bit of a lighter shade, because I love being able to recommend a product to you guys that everybody is going to be able to find their shade in. You don't have to bronze or contour your lip, but I like to do the bottom lip for me personally, because I think that it like makes the bottom lip look a little bit fuller when you're looking at it from the side. It adds like that shadowy effect, like, oh, my lips are so big that when the light is hitting me from above, it's casting a shadow. Do with that information what you will. I think it looks good. So now I'm going in. This is a Real Techniques brush. This is in the shade, this is the multitasking brush from them. It's the number 407, and I'm going to use this to bronze today with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I normally will go in with like a bunch of different bronzers or like dip into different palettes and stuff, but I'm trying to keep it consistent with like one product, one palette, one thing for each step, so that you guys, if you want to recreate this at home, can do so. So now you can see the face looks really defined. I'm gonna go in with some blush now. I'm gonna go in with the LA Girl Island Hottie blush palette. This is in the like shade Island Hottie, like that's the name of the palette. This is like my favorite drugstore year-round palette. I think it is amazing for so many reasons. It has a different like range of like shimmers to mattes. You can see that this one's a little bit shiny, this one's a little bit shiny, this one has like way less sheen, but it is still a little bit of a sheen, and this one's completely matte. So you can do a lot with this. I personally love these two shades more in the winter and these two more in the summertime. Since it is winter currently, I'm going to go with these two. First, I'm going to go with this lighter blush, and I love a blush that has a lot of dimension, which means like when I've applied it to my face, I'm going to use two shades, almost like when you're going in with your eyeshadow and you use different shades to transition. That's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to use a lighter shade, this lighter shade, more on the, I'm actually going to switch brushes and go with something a little bit more precise. I like this on the apples of my cheeks. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. Also, we're not going to go in with too much highlight today, so I'm going to make sure that the blushes that I'm using are nice and defined. If I want to add a little bit of highlight, I can. I'm just not going to go with too much. I'm going to apply this on the apples. If you don't know where the apples of your cheeks are, you can always smile and kind of like see the roundness here and apply your blush there. So when you smile in photos, that's where you'll really see that. And then I'm going to go in with a duo fiber brush. This one's from Real Techniques as well. Oh, sorry, this one's from Eco Tools. And I'm going to use this to diffuse that blush upwards. I haven't done my brows yet, you can see. And that's because I like to apply product near my temples, but I don't have much space. So if I do that, if I do my brows first, I'm not going to be able to do this. And yes, I like to take my blush up to my temples a little bit. I'm also going to take this brush with no extra product and apply some blush on my nose. That's not super popular with everybody. You don't have to do it if you don't like it. Next I'm going to go in with the darker shade, and I'm going to apply it kind of back here a little bit. Yeah, I think makeup is a very personal thing, so if you see something you want to try it out. If you don't like something that someone is doing, don't do it, you know? So it's very personal. It is literally your second skin. There are no rules. Lately I've been liking a lot of blush. I used to not really like blush that much, so now I'm gonna set my face. I'm gonna go back in with the Stay All Night Micro Fine Setting Mist. I love this so very much. The spritzer on this is phenomenal. And I feel like I didn't even get it that long ago, and I've like already gone through half, so I love it a ton. Another tip is that if your under eyes look dry, take the back, so this is like the clean side of my sponge. I'm gonna take that. I feel like my under eyes are looking a little bit dry. You can always like spray your face and then go in with this. Also, if you find that your setting spray is like squirting like drops of water at you, either back it up further or just make sure to like go slower and like really press the product really slow, like really press it down slow. Okay guys, so you can see how I prepped my eyes. I literally just used the same concealer I use, which is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo. Love her. Literally amazing. If you don't have this palette, use whatever shades are similar, my friend, because it's nothing special. The formula is good. But like, use your Jaclyn Hill original like A1 palette. Use whatever you have, because they're just brown shades. There's like a million palettes out there that have similar shades, maybe not like the blues and like this peach color, and you know, but like you can find something like this. So I'm gonna go in with this shade Lounger, which is this shade right here in the middle, very bronzy. If you don't have a shade like this, go in with your bronzer using a nice large, whoa, that's darker than I thought. Whatever, we're going with it. It was darker than I thought. It looked like, that's the thing with Colourpop shadows, and I always forget it until this happens. I always think that they are not as dark. So I'm just going back and forth diffusing this. They are really easy to diffuse though, which is nice. But like when you first apply some of these shades, you're like, oh crap, that was more pigmented than I thought. I'm gonna go with my butter bronzer just to help that like edge diffuse. This is what I would have done. I would have started with this shade. I love going in with bronzers first, you guys. I know that like I was trying to use just one palette on the eyes, but use whatever bronzer you have. I personally love starting off with a bronzer, because I feel like it gives me so much more control when I am diffusing shades. I'm like that girl who uses like 10 shades. That's because I think that those 10 shades like blend so beautifully together, and it makes it easier. So you can see I'm kind of like trying to elongate the eye here. That's because that's the vibe that I'm going for. Kind of going for like that Foxy eyes vibe. I'm actually going to take this same shade, like this brush with no extra product, and just like run it all over the lid real quick. So now I am going to do a cut crease. I know it's like not that much product on the eyes, but I'm going to take the same concealer I was using, paint it on the back of my brush. If you're new at this, line the bottom of your eye, look up, roll your right. It'll give you a guideline, but I'm just going to go in for it. And because I want my eyes to look elongated, I am, instead of going further in like a half moon here and like stopping it where my brush is now, I'm taking it like outwards towards my nose. I personally really love to play around with my eye shape, and the way that it like comes off is displayed, whatever you want to put it. My husband and I are actually going to go out for sushi after this, and I am the most excited. And then I'm taking the rest of this product and just like diffusing it into, like putting it all over the lid basically. I'm making sure that this is nice and perfect before I do anything else. Like before I start working on the other eye, like I'm making sure that this is like as perfect as I can get it, because I'm actually just gonna lightly set this. So now I'm gonna take this nice light matte shade. Mind you, you don't have to use a matte shade. That's just what I feel like doing. And I'm using a light fluffy brush to apply this, almost like if it was, you know, like any other shade in the crease. I think this actually is easier, like makes the shade look a little bit smoother than if I were to have applied it with a flat brush. This is literally all about shape work, really, or like shadowing, because I'm not really using shades like outside of my like skin tone range, if that makes sense. So if you are a deeper or lighter skin tone, you can adjust. But also I feel like this is really good because you can use this kind of look for so many different like outfits. So I'm going to take the shade Jet Set and One Way, and I'm going to mix them together because I feel like this one's too white and this one's too yellow. I'm going to use that to highlight my inner corner. And now I'm going to go in with an eyeliner. You can do this technique with tape if you want to do it, and then do your face later. And I wanted to like elongate my inner corner, but my eye tends to kind of, like sometimes my eye tends to like run a little bit. So I think I'm gonna actually do this with eyeshadow. I'm gonna take the deepest brown shade and just kind of like put a little bit of shadow in the inner corner. Just to like elongate the eye a little bit. It's more of a faux line than the other way. So I actually used this teeny tiny little brush and used this to like run it on the inner corner. I think that looks really pretty. It looks very classy. I'm gonna put some lashes on, and I'm just gonna do the under eye really quick so you guys can kind of get the idea of what I'm going for. I don't want the under eye to be too warm, so I'm gonna start with the shade Prime Time, which is a little bit more of a cool tone brown. And I'm just gonna run that under the eye. So I'm gonna do some mascara really quick, but I'm gonna go in with these Ioni lashes. They are fairly thin, they're not too intense. Also for a look like this, I like lashes that extend outward to like flatter the cat eye kind of look, but aren't too full that you like kind of lose the lightness to the eye. And I'm also gonna go in, oh, I was gonna use this Tarte mascara, but I said I was gonna do Drugstore. So today I'm actually gonna go in with the Lash Sensational Sky High mascara from Maybelline. I'm not using like, oh my god, anything wild for like mascara, because I've talked about how I don't love this for my top lashes, but because I'm going with mascara, with lashes already, it's not that big of a deal. I do really love this mascara for the lower lash line though, because the wand is like just perfectly small enough. Okay, so now I'm ready to put this lash on. I already did this. Look, you guys, I don't know if you can tell the difference. I forgot to do the brown on this under eye, so if you like this better, skip the brown, but I think this looks better personally. This is the NYX Wonder Pencil. I'm going to use this on my waterline right after I sharpen it. Like, look how much more awake that eye looks with that. Oh, it looks so good. I love this pencil. I don't know if it has a shade though. Yeah, it's in the shade Light. I just realized my eyeliner on this side is crooked. Like, you can see the divot right there, so I'm gonna fix that. I think it's funny that before I applied the lash, I did not notice it at all. And now for lips, I think I'm gonna do the Maple Glaze liner from the LA Girl Shockwave liners. Isn't that funny? I didn't think I loved this shade, to be honest, before, and now I'm using it. I'm like, whoa, that was amazing. And I'm gonna go with the Milani like new matte lipsticks. This is the shade Tease. You guys, I just think I found my new favorite lip combo. Yeah, these colors complemented each other so nicely. That was actually incredible. Okay, so now I'm gonna pop on this lash, and basically we're all done. Okay, you guys, so this is the completed look. I just took my hair down because I'm about to leave the house now. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's like a very simple look. It's very matte. I feel like it's almost very like 90s in a way because I don't have a lot of highlighter on my face. And I feel like this eye look is very classic overall. So I love the lip. I really like the products I used on my face today. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.